Alright, so right now we're going to try to multiply in base 6 using manipulatives, right? The first thing we need to look at, though, is putting our bases of 6. For instance, 6 to the power 0 is essentially our 1 by 1, which would equal 1, which is going to be representative of these little 1 by 1 green cubes. 6 to the power 1 is going to be a 6 by 1, and 6 by 1 is 6, which is going to be represented by these blue 1 by 6 pieces that have 1 by 6 squares. Next one is going to be 6 to the power 2, which is essentially 6 times 6, which will be 36, which is going to be represented by these red squares, which are 6 by 6, which is 36. Lastly is going to be 6 to the power 3, which is 6 times 6 times 6, which I do believe is 216, which is going to be a three-dimensional shape, which is going to be represented by the 6 by 6 by 6 cubes. So, now, what we're going to try to do here is multiply two numbers. We're going to try to multiply the number 352 by the number 41. Now, we're going to have these different spaces here. We're going to start off with our 6 to the power 3, which represents our thousandths, our hundreds, which is 6 to the power 2, 6 to the power 1 being our tens, and 6 to the power 0 being our ones. Same thing here, 6 to the power 3, 6 to the power 2, 6 to the power 1, and 6 to the power 0. So if we want to think about it again, we can also write this as kind of 352, and this would be our 41. So now that we started this and everything, we're going to try to multiply. First thing is our 6 to the power 1, or 6 to the power 0, is going to be 1. So we're going to take one of these green squares, pop it right here. Our 4 is going to be in the 10, so we're going to have 4 of these blue 1 by 6s. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's our 41. Obviously, we have nothing here or here, so this would just be a 0 and a 0. Now we're going to look at this part with 352. Obviously, we have nothing in the thousands place. We have 3 of these 6 squared ones, so that'll be in this box. 3 of those for 3 of these. Then we're going to have 5 of our 6 to the power 1s. So we're going to take 5 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Lastly, we're going to have 2 of our 1s, so we're going to take 2 of these little squares here, pop them in. Now that'll represent our 1s. All right, so now that we set that up, we're going to multiply. We're going to take this part first. We'll take this 1 by these 2. Well, 1 times 2 is going to be 2, and we're just going to drop in 2 green squares here. Then we're going to take 1 times 5. Well, this 6 to 1, 6 to the power 5 is going to give us 5 of these, because 5 times 1 is 5, so we'll have 5 of these. All right, lastly, we're going to have 1 times 3, which is 3 of our 6 squares. 1, 2, and 3. Now let's go with the next row. We're going to have 4 times 2. Well, 4 times 2 is 8. That means we're going to have 8 of our 6 by 1s. So we're going to take the rest of these that I perfectly cut out, and we should have exactly 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, there's 8 of them. Then we're going to take 4 times 5. Well, 4 times 5 is 20, and because this is a 6 by 1 and a 6 by 1, then it'll be a 6 by 6 square. So we're actually going to have 20 of these. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Because 4 times 5 is 20 of these. Next, we're going to take 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. But because we have these as 1 by 6s times our 6 by 6s, well, this is like saying 6 times 6 times 6, so it's actually going to give us one of these cubes. Now, because it was 3 times 4, we're going to have 12, and I made 12 of these. They're double stacked. All right, lastly, we are going to have nothing times nothing, which would give us, obviously, nothing. Nothing times nothing is nothing, and nothing times nothing is nothing. So, all right, we have everything now in our manipulatives on this board. What we're going to try to do now is we're going to kind of write our thing out. We're going to have things in our 1s, our 10s, our hundreds, and our thousands. Now, we're going to kind of count it like this. Obviously here I have 2 in our 1, so I could put a 2 here. If we want to kind of do something like this, we can. Alright, this is a good organizer. Now let's look at my 6 to the power 1s, which are all these blue ones on this diagonal. And I have a total of 8 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 13, so there are 13 of them. Then I'm going to look at this diagonal for our hundredths. Well, 20 plus 3 is going to give us 23. And lastly, I'm going to look at this diagonal, which is going to give us just these 12 of our three-dimensional 6 by 6 by 6 cubes. Now we're going to try to write this out. Well, remember, if we're looking in base 6, we can only use numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 2 is a legal number, so we're going to drop that down and becomes 2. 13 is not a legal number. 13 is not in base 6, so we have to think about it. 6 can go into this 2 times with a remainder of 1. So it can go in it 2 times with a remainder of 1, so we're going to drop the 1 here, put the 2 here. So 23 plus 2 is 25. 25 is also not a legal number, so 6 can go into 25 4 times with a remainder of 1. We'll drop the 1 down here, we'll put the 4 here. So 12 plus 4 is 16. 6 can go into that 2 times with a remainder of 4. So, yeah. All right, remainder 4. So then we're going to drop that down as 24. So our final answer would be 2, 4, 1, 1, 2.